you opened up your calendar right now and saw 5 discovery calls, would you be excited or would you be dreading it? Like most practitioners, we signed up to be healthcare providers. We signed up to be physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs. We didn't sign up to be salespeople. And the least authentic position for us is to be talking about money. We feel awkward. We feel uncomfortable. And if that's you, this episode is for you, because in this episode, you're going to hear some of the statements from inside my Catalyst Studio mentorship as we discussed and unpacked the 5-step discovery call process. And this will help you frame out your conversation so it feels authentic and easeful and it feels more like you, so you can shine and stop cringing. Welcome to The Catalyst Way, the podcast for women clinicians ready to clear the chaos and create space to flourish. I'm Dr. Lara Salyer, a former burned out family practice doctor turned mentor, author, and professional calendar whisperer. I help women in medicine reclaim time, trust their intuition, and build practices that actually fit their lives. Each week, you'll get practical tools, creative strategies, and tiny shifts that help you color outside the lines and paint a work-life masterpiece of authentic, aligned joy. As you know, I like to start each episode off with a story. This is from Studio Time, where we were unpacking the art of discovery calls. And I like to start each 90-minute weekly Friday mastermind with a prompt. This is the time when all of our women catalysts are together and we are supporting each other with decisions or next steps, and magic happens in these 90 minutes. But we always start off with a prompt that we take in and we think about. And the prompt was, do you ever feel like you explain too much in your discovery calls? So let that sit in right now for you listening or watching on YouTube. Do you feel awkward? Do you explain too much in your discovery calls? That is a huge behavioral tell. I am a word vomiter, and I word vomit more on 2 occasions. If I'm very excited or passionate about something, or if I'm uncertain, feeling awkward, and I'm just using my words as a cover-up. Both of those situations. So oftentimes we can explain too much when we're passionate. But if you're like most of us, we didn't sign on to medicine to be salespeople. So when it starts to get towards the mention of cost or fees, we tend to overexplain or feel like we have to apologize or validate why, et cetera, et cetera. And that's exactly what our Catalyst Studio mentees had to say. Many of them said, yes, when I start talking about money, I can't get my mouth to stop. Another said, I tend to talk too much, giving too much away of medical advice, of descriptions of why things cost how much they cost, why I've made this decision to set up my business like this, all of these explanations, almost like apologies. And that can set us up for a discovery call that feels more like a pulling instead of an invitation and letting them step forward. Also, another catalyst said that patients often would tell her, I didn't even know it was going to cost this much, which would make her feel shocked because she said she had her prices listed all over her website. That's when another catalyst jumped in and said, well, over the years, I've learned you need at least 5 to 8 different places that you're going to display your practice, your website, your email nurturing sequence, your social media, even a visual infographic that you can clip into an email, or the appointment reminder for the discovery calls. All of these places should showcase what your business model is. If it's a package, fee for service, membership. And again, we have all kinds inside our studio mentorship. There's no one right way. Your community will dictate what serves them best. But you should be confident that you've explained your pricing and the way that your services work long before you get on that discovery call. So if you have a patient saying, I had no idea it would cost this much, that's an opportunity, a gift for you to look deeper into where they might be missing that. And how can you infuse more clarity and transparency into messaging? Now, some of the other things that our catalyst shared, I'm going to save towards the end because these are gold. And if you can complete these and add these into your methodology of discovery calls, seriously, it's just going to be transformational. So let's get to the framework of how an appropriate discovery call flow would look. Now, as you know, I'm all about flow and flow neuroscience and making things easy not hard. So discovery calls should feel like an exciting dance. There's some steps involved. The music might change, but you should be able to feel confident that you can adapt, because if you follow a framework, then you can have that written off on the side. You can have that on the screen or on your notes and get used to this. And the more confident you feel, then it allows your excitement and your passion to just shine right through. And that is what helps patients feel like they want to make that next step to work with you. So the first step of this framework is connecting and framing the discovery call. Let's be honest, when you connect with somebody, the goal is to help them feel safe, seen, comfortable, and aware. And what that means is many of these patients may have never had a discovery call with a doctor, a nurse practitioner, or PA before. This might be a whole new game for them. They may have never even heard of functional or holistic or integrative medicine, and they're taking a chance on this. And they're nervous. They have questions. They don't know what to expect. Are we going to be talking for 20 minutes? Is this going to be like a tutorial where they're teaching me? What's going on? And we're used to the big machine of healthcare where you whip out your insurance card, you sign all these paperwork. So they're coming at this blind. Now, even if they're a veteran and they've seen other healthcare practitioners in the functional medicine space, still, they don't know how you work. So you can shine by connecting, looking them in the eyes or in the camera lens. Behavioral psychology says showing your palms, waving, saying hi, being close to the camera rather than way far away. This promotes safety and trust. But the one thing that promotes the most trust and safety is framing out expectations. People like to know where we're going, right? You like to know the roadmap ahead. You're not going to go on a hike unless you know if it's a 1 mile, 10 mile, 20 mile hike and what are the mountains we're going to be climbing. Your patient feels the same way. So framing out how the next 15, 20, 30 minutes are going to go will help them relax because they know what to expect. And it can sound something like this. Hey, I'm so excited for these discovery calls. It gives me a chance to meet like-minded people in my community that want to feel healthy in the most natural way. Unfortunately, we can't solve all problems in 20 minutes. So what we do is I like to really hear about your top 2 symptoms. That gives me an idea of what's going on. I'll ask you some questions, and then we'll have time to understand how my business works at the end. We'll review those prices from my website and answer any questions there. My discovery calls always give you an email of your next steps, so you don't have to feel like you're taking notes. I will give you some articles you might want to read, maybe some videos I've made on this topic. It's my gift to you if you decide not to move forward. That's it. I framed the whole experience. They have an idea. They know that, okay, I'm watching the clock. This is not going to be an invitation to talk for an hour. This is also not medical advice. This is going to be listening, asking questions, and then sharing how functional medicine may help them with these symptoms. And it's not guaranteeing them a spot in my life, in my calendar. I only want to work with coworkers that bring me joy. And I treat my patients like coworkers. I'm guiding them. They're working with me, but they have to come right to that 50-yard line. And we do this together. This also helps them understand that my website does have all the stuff on there. So if they accidentally didn't see it and we get to the money part of it and they're like, oh, I had no idea, we can review what's on my website. And you can always come back later if you feel this is not the right time for you. Maybe next year is, because you never know. People do circle back and they really appreciate a practitioner that is holding this really dense space for them. I mean, people can feel your presence when you are locked in. So that's step 1. Step 2 is more clarifying, right? You want them to clarify what's going on. So let them tell their story, right? Give them about 3 to 5 minutes, which is generous considering the average doctor interrupts a patient in 18 seconds. So let them tell their story, but really frame it by saying, I really want to hear about that top symptom. What if you could pick one? I know you've got a lot, but if you could pick one, tell me more about that. And not when it started, right? Because that's inviting them to go back in history. But when did it become severe enough that you thought to book this discovery call, right? You're listening, trying not to interrupt, but validating. That sounds like it's hard. Wow, you really sound resilient. echoing back those values that you notice. I call it a values hunt. I like to go on a values hunt and I look for ways that they've adapted, that they've changed, that they've sought out help, they've been curious. And ultimately, I ask, how is this affecting your life? And that way it gives me an idea of their pain point, right? I can't go down on the floor and play with my grandchildren because my joints hurt. I'm counting the bathrooms in a shopping mall because my diarrhea is so bad that I'm worried to go shopping unless I know where the bathroom is. Those real life things are hugely, hugely helpful. Then I mirror that back. It sounds like you've been trying this, this, and this, and you're still suffering from this. If I have time, I like to idealize like what it may look like, right? To have that problem gone. It sounds like you really would like to go shopping without having to worry and obsess over the map of the shopping mall, right? Then the third step, I move to the align, right? This is trying to see, are we a good fit, right? Now, everybody's different in how they practice medicine. And in my Catalyst studio, we have practitioners that use acupuncture, that use somatic methods for healing. They might be trained in herbal medication. They might be naturopaths, osteopaths. They do cranial sacral. But that's the beauty of the Catalyst way is you're designing your own practice. So only you know how well a person can align with the services that you love delivering. So what I like to do in this third stage is talk a little bit about what I like to do. And some examples that I've pulled from others can look like this. My work focuses on uncovering root causes using functional medicine. And I'm not here to chase symptoms, but to explain them and give you tools to heal. Another one might say, we go deeper than just fixing lab numbers. It's about restoring joy, clarity, and well-being. Or finally, you won't be walking alone. This is a partnership model. This is a monthly membership that I help you guide one step at a time so you're comfortable, but you do the walking. You see, this kind of helps them understand that they're aligning with how I do my services or not. Now, for my private practice, I talk about how it's very tech forward, that they have to be comfortable using computers. I do weekly open office hours, so it's a online opportunity for them to see me and ask more questions. I have a digital Zen library full of tutorials and handouts, so they're able to DIY some common daily symptoms of things. And these are all ways that my membership shows value. And so this is one way that I give them that peek that this is going to take some work. My style of practice is not authoritarian. I'm not going to just say, do this or else. And that's the only option. This is very collaborative. Okay. And so take a pause if you're listening or watching and think about how you deliver your services and jot down key phrases that you might find comfortable saying to a prospective patient. It can be something as simple as, I'm a seasonal functional medicine practitioner. I live in a tourist area, so my services are available during the school year, but then when summer hits, I actually take summers off. We have Catalyst doing that, right? You can design your own way that you want to show up in the world. Okay, let's move to the fourth stage. This is the invitation stage, right? And so this is where you've made an internal decision that you would like to invite them further into your services. Now, it can look like different things. Some people are at this point, selling a whole package. That doesn't work for my community. I am only trying to sell them into an initial visit. That's it. That initial visit is a 1-hour comprehensive visit. And then at that point, I make the decision whether they can go further into my 3-tier membership on one of the 3 tiers. You could be selling them a case review with one of your staff members. You could be selling them a 1-year membership at this point, but it's up to you. Nonetheless, this is the invitation portion. So you need to be clear on what you're inviting them to. And so I will tell them, I'm inviting you to come forward and let's do an initial visit. This will give me an idea of exactly what's been going on. Have given me your labs for the last 2 years. I will have analyzed this from a functional medicine lens. You have a long intake that I'll analyze and put your case together. I will visit with you for a whole hour. And at the end of the hour, I will give you an action plan to get started. Okay. And that gives them an idea of, oh, that's what she's inviting me to. And for me, it works because it's a softer sell than come join my membership. I just feel more comfortable. I feel more authentically me. And so I've chosen that, and it's been successful for the last 8 years. And having people step one more foot into my door in an initial session is great. My conversion rate to membership is like 90%. So it works for me, but it doesn't have to be the way for you. Here's other little scripts that you can say. Here's how we'd work together, right? Just telling them, here's how we would work together. My services are fee for service. Each visit costs this much, but I do A, B, and C in between each visit and whatever, right? Or you could say, my most popular membership level will give you a home base with one-on-one support, supplement discounts, and education tools. I really recommend that you would join this tier of my membership. Or this is a great fit on my end. And if you're ready to take steps forward and tired of looking for overnight fixes, then I'm really excited to work with you. Simple as that. Quick intermission. When I was suffering burnout, I didn't need another protocol. I needed permission to be myself, which is why I wrote my book, Right Brain Rescue. It's a funny, raw, and honest take on the physician burnout epidemic, and also how creativity helped me come back to life. This is also why I love making infographics and self-paced courses, because I want to save you time and spark your creativity and help you see that healing happens when we're fully ourselves. So head to drlarasalyer.com/shop and browse the products. You might find something that can save you time, spark your creativity, and help you make your career the joy that it should be. Here is where gold lies. So one of our catalysts during our studio time mastermind had mentioned that she got a lot more confident, clear, and had higher conversion rates when she started explaining that if they're ready to join, she's here. But if the payment is too much of a barrier, she has another option. She has a do-it-yourself tutorial online course that walks a patient through some basics of her specific niche of care. And what is great about this is people, again, are waiting to hear the cost. And when they've talked about the cost, you've talked about the cost, you've said, here's the invitation, here's what it costs, here's where you can find the prices. I would love to work with you. And then you give them this second option of, and if this is not the right time for you, I have another option to consider. It's like a slam dunk. You've really taken care of anything they could have possibly asked. Okay, now the last is detach. That's the last phase, right? This is relieving pressure. You've just had the hardest part, which is talking about money, inviting them in. They're probably feeling like, should I say yes? I detach by saying, you don't have to answer right now. I'm going to be emailing you, and you have 30 days to make a decision. After that, you will have to rebook another discovery call because our symptoms change. Our body's a river. You can have a new diagnosis next week, or things can get worse. And so this invitation will expire in 30 days, but my assistant will reach out to you 1 week before expiration so you don't get lost. And I pause. Do you see how comfortable that is? I've thought of all the ways that they could get lost. I'm taking care of them. I'm saying, I really want to work with you, but I also don't want to pressure you. It has to feel like the right time. So this detaching is so important. I don't think I've met one practitioner who loves to pressure people. And if they do, maybe they're in a different type of business model. They do exist. The high ticket $20,000 functional medicine model where you pressure and you're all into like pressure tactics and the hard close, but that never fit right with me. I'm a Midwest mom of 3, and all the women in my Catalyst group are very similar. We want people to feel comfortable and taken care of. So this last part of a discovery call, the detach part, crucial. Take your foot off the accelerator. Smile. You finished the hardest part. And tell them they have some time to think about it. And tell them, there's no rush. Healing is not a race. You can take a breath and we'll circle back, right? And you can also say things, I've got other scripts here. I only take 1 to 2 patients per month. So just let me know in the next 2 weeks so I can open up a spot for the next one, right? There's all sorts of ways that you can be authentic, boundaried, and also frame out those next steps. And that's it. Then you're done, right? You hang up, you say, expect an email from me in the next 24 hours, right? You're breadcrumbing and giving them the exact steps so they aren't feeling anxious when they're done. Like, what do I do next? Do I need to click somewhere and go on a website? I mean, you're telling them exactly what they're going to expect. So let's go over what not to say. Please don't list every single visit length. I have 60 minutes, I have 90 minutes, I have 30 minutes, like, or every test company you work with. I work with doctor's data or ZRT or mosaics or all of that information. If they have questions on that, really think about the most common questions people ask. And if they're asking over and over which companies you work with, put that on your website. Have a patient page on your website that lists all these little factual, tactical things, right? Because you shouldn't waste time in your discovery call listing protocols or ways that you've helped others and different lab companies. I mean, that's just not the time. Also, try not to talk nonstop. I have a hard time with this because I get super excited when I meet another human that wants to feel healthy. But take a breath. Have a routine before a discovery call that you do some self-regulation, maybe some deep breathing, maybe a little meditation, or maybe a little dance party to get out those nerves, whatever it is. But this should be fun. And if it isn't, it will be as you practice more and more. The last thing that I see happen all the time, and please don't do this, is just make it a case-by-case basis, right? Lowering your standards, letting somebody in, ignoring that feeling they may not be a good fit, right? And that goes back to the last episode. You should know what your disqualifiers are. And if you ignore that and just take them anyway because you need a sale or, well, it's a family friend or whatever, please be careful. The more case by case basis is, oh, I'm going to ignore the administrative fee or the onboarding fee, or I'm going to give you a half price here or there. Then your staff has to remember who's that special person and why are they only paying this much. It's just too much headache. Easier for your brain to remember your consistent policies. Okay, so let's get to what behavioral science would say, right? Less is more. I know that's hard. I'm an over word vomiter as well, but the more you practice, and you can practice videoing yourself or recording yourself in your iPhone on a walk, it gets easier. And then asking for feedback for those that didn't convert is also good information because then you can polish where it might feel rusty and improve your success in the future. But also, behavioral science explains that when you mirror somebody, it's building trust from the very beginning. So the more you can head nod, I hear what you're saying, you're not alone, statements like this in an authentic way, right? Oh, I've helped people just like you. That's got to be hard. Those things build trust and they feel like they can tell you what's going on. And the more they can tell you, it actually can help you with your plans, right? We know functional medicine is complex and reaches to the deep biochemical and somatic levels. So the more they can feel comfortable with you, it will make your transformation of their health a lot easier. And finally, I am a rebel and I disagree with all of the high pressured sales tactics out there. And they're out there. I see them still in business mentorships, that you've got to feel urgent. You've got to promote scarcity. Now, there's ethical ways to say, I only accept 1 to 2 patients per month. That's different than I need to have an answer now, right? When you have urgency in your voice, it completely kills safety. People feel like this is how it's going to be, setting the tone of their relationship with you. And you really want to promote this slow cook medicine approach. This is not fast food. And this also aligns with the fact that you shouldn't overpromise cures. Please don't use the word cure or fix. You don't know how the human body is going to react. So I shun those words. I never use them in my discovery calls because I want to set the stage that this is an exploration of your physiology in a very new way. And together we're going to walk into your biochemistry to learn what is going on. How is your body talking to you and how can we better understand the role inflammation plays? And we're going to see how we can set you up for a healing journey, but there's no guarantee, right? So that is the 5-step framework. Let's review. I'm going to get my notes up again. Number 1, connect. That promotes safety. and frame out what's going to happen in this discovery call. Number 2, clarify what you do, right? Let them tell their story, clarify where you have questions and see if it's aligning, which is step 3, aligning. Are they aligned with your services? You can explain a little bit about what you do. And then 4 is the hard one, the invite, right? Inviting them forward. But you don't have to invite them to the whole thing. Maybe you do initial visit, a foundational assessment, a case review, something that's a little lower level, or maybe you offer a do-it-yourself course that is cheaper than your one-on-one time, whatever it is. Invite them somewhere and be clear about what that invitation is. And then finally, detach. You've done the hard part. You've talked about the money, the next steps, and then detach and tell them what happens next, that you will circle back, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Now, every episode ends with a catalyst question. So here's the one for you to ponder for your work-life masterpiece. What part of your discovery call needs the biggest boundary upgrade? I'd love to hear. Drop it below. Share this episode with a friend or colleague. And thank you for practicing good self-care, because creativity is a 6th vital sign, and we all need to keep coloring outside the lines and reinventing a modern healthcare that works for everybody. And I'm so glad you're here. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to The Catalyst Way, where we clear the chaos and create space to flourish. If today's episode lit a spark in you, please take the Catalyst Archetype quiz. It's free, fun, and freakishly accurate. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create. In less than 5 minutes, you will uncover your burnout risk, learn your creative strengths, and the work rhythms that actually energize you. Because it's not about finding the perfect plan, but rather flowing with the one that fits you. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create and take the quiz now. Remember, tiny shifts catalyze immense impact. So keep coloring outside those lines.